Hey, what's up, folks? My name is DJ Duchess. I live in Washington, D.C. I'm a house DJ. I curate events. I curate events here in the D.C., Maryland, and Virginia area. I do community work. I'm a dancer. I'm an artist. I do so many things and have done so many things and have been so many different people. Um, in a past life, I was a makeup artist, and then I became a master esthetician and cosmetic chemist. I had some acclaim or some notoriety on social media as an esthetician and with my skincare brand. But my heart and my passion has always been music. I come from a very artistic, very expressive family. Well, no, I come from a very artistically repressed family. How about that? I have a lot of artists in my family, but I have a lot of artists in my family, but not a lot of people who live out their passions or make a living off of their gifts. I also am diagnosed with autism, ADHD, clinical depression, anxiety, and CPTSD. Um, and despite how a lot of things look on social media, the photos that I take, the events that I'm at, the music that I'm making, the smile on my face when I'm dancing, I am struggling. Every day is a fight to keep my head above water. And things really, really, really took a turn for the worst when I lost my spa, when my spa closed down in 2021, I believe it was, a year or so after COVID. After we came out of lockdown. I was able to get one round of COVID relief funding for my business, but it was just a really unfortunate time. I had just brought on another esthetician on my business. I was expanding online with my skincare brand and using TikTok as a platform. And then COVID happened. I was able to limp along for like a year or so. I made sales through gift cards and product sales online. And then when I came back in, I had to do a lot of work for free, kind of. But closing my business, selling off my equipment, closing my doors, wrestling with the realization that it was my fault, that I was not good with my money, really it struck a major blow to my confidence, and it also set me on this 3 to 4 year long autistic burnout that I have been clawing my way out of. I was married at the time, and my partner had a job, but it wasn't a great paying job, and unfortunately it wasn't enough to sustain me, my partner, and my 2 kids. You will not believe how hard it is in this country to find work when you are a person who is a business owner. You would think, oh, I owned and operated my own business for close to 10 years. I do the sales, I do the marketing, I do the inventory, I did the management, I did the training, I did the hiring, I did the any and everything that you can think of. But for whatever reason, when you go in front of someone for a job interview, it's not enough. They want to see what big company that you worked for and how many, awards that you won within the company and how much productivity you increased them by. And like, the proof is literally in my pudding. How many of you that do hiring can say that you started your own business from scratch? Mind you, I was living in a women's shelter when I started my business with my 2 kids, taking the bus and working as a receptionist at a hair salon. And then I became a lead esthetician at Blue Mercury. And then I became a store manager and center manager for a European Wax Center. I opened that store from scratch, did the hiring, did the training, oversaw construction, and was liaison between my franchise owner and the corporate office. And I did my job, I believe, very well. And then when the time came, I stepped away to open my own business. And for whatever reason, that combination of blow to my confidence, autistic burnout. Also, I contracted COVID and got very, very sick. I lost all of the bacteria in my gut and in my intestine because of extreme fever. And I lost so much weight, and now I have these like gastrointestinal issues, which I kind of had before, but were really exacerbated by the COVID and the stress. And yeah, it when I lost my business is when everything took a turn for the worse. Is when my life got to, I believe, its darkest point, and it's not gotten much brighter. I'm gonna be very honest with you. We were evicted from our apartment. Well, we were told to leave our apartment for unpaid rent, and if we didn't, vacate, it would become an eviction, and didn't want that on my record. So we left. Come find out, still doesn't matter. It's still on your rental history, and you're fucked either way. But we got evicted, and because I didn't have a job and because my ex-husband wasn't making enough money, we couldn't find anywhere else to live. So I had to ask my mom and my grandmother to take my kids so they could stay with them, and me and my partner rent a room. That was like $800. And it got so much worse from there. Sometimes you feel like you put your kids in the hands of family members and that they're going to be taken care of and that they're going to be safe, and the family is going to care for them just as much as you care for them. And that wasn't the case. My mom and my grandmother began having beef. My grandmother is definitely suffering from dementia, and because of just the irresponsibility of my people in the Black culture, we turn a blind eye so much to just like illness, mental illness, physical ailments, and things in our families, especially when we don't have the money or we don't have the education to do so with it. And I would say it's been almost 3 years that I've been separated from my babies. she's taken them to an RV park, to a trailer park, and now into a roach-infested apartment. And I can't do anything to save my kids. I will make this so perfectly fucking clear. I work my ass off every single day to be reunited with my kids. Even when I am so depressed that I can't get out of bed, this is where I am most of the day. I don't leave here unless I'm DJing. Unless I have an event to go to, I'm in bed. I don't shower. I don't brush my teeth. I don't eat. But I'm in my bed. And this is where I'm at now. In December, I was accepted to the Housing Association Commission's voucher. Basically, back in December, I got accepted for a housing voucher. Anyone knows who's struggled with housing insecurity, how hard it is to get off that waiting list and onto the acceptance list for a housing voucher. And I got the housing voucher. It was for $1,650. And that just covers the cost of your rent per month. They don't give you any help on a deposit. They don't give you any help on first month's rent. They do not care about your credit score. It's this exact same process to apply for an apartment with a voucher versus without a voucher. If you're a low-income individual, your credit score is not going to be great. You're going to have to scrap tooth and nail for the money that you need for first month's rent and a deposit, not to mention the application fees and now this new holding fee that they do, where if you want to hold the apartment, the application fee and the application itself is what used to hold your apartment for you. Now they need $500 to hold the apartment. And so December, you get 3 months and 2 extensions from HOC to find enough time to get an apartment. I have no job. I have very little income, only the income that I'm getting from DJing, the $200 that I get per month in child support from my ain't shit ex-husband that should be going to my kids, but because I don't have a job and they're in the care of my mom, I use that $200 a month for gas to go and see them, to go and take them places, and to do what I can for job searching. Needless to say, I did not find an apartment or house, any kind of property to rent. And the amount of discrimination and just BS that I dealt with during that whole process is enough for a whole other video. This country is screwed. There's no housing crisis in America. There is a racism and prejudice and discrimination problem in this country. And on top of that, I came out as bisexual / pansexual to my parents. And I also came to some personal realizations about my belief in religion, which is basically that I don't believe in the Christian Bible. The Abrahamic and Islamic faiths are rooted in patriarchy and misogynism, misogyny, patriarchy, misogyny. They don't respect women. They blind people to their autonomy, and it doesn't give people a correct idea of the power and the divinity and the strength that they have within themselves to build and create their own reality. And that's by design. And the powers that be and the capitalists and the companies that run this country, they know that religion is the opium of the masses. And the longer we stay focused on future and untangible things, the more we're not going to focus on fixing and changing the things that need to be fixed and changed right now. But all that to say, I've applied for every job under the sun. I actually took part in a biopharmaceutical training program that was a part of a work force employment, program that didn't lead anywhere. And yeah, like I said, the financial part has been hard. Being separated from my kids has been hard. The guilt and shame of being a mom who is not able to care for her kids and provide for her kids is immense. But the hardest part is just like the being alone and not really feeling like people care or even want to help you. You walk into these social security offices and lay your whole life bare. They want to see your finances. They want to see your medical bills. They want to know your relationship status. They want stacks and stacks of documentation, and you're standing in front of this dead-eyed woman who's seen 50 people that day and couldn't care less about your situation. Honestly, they're underfunded. They're underpaid. They're there because they just want to keep a job. They don't want to be there, but they know if they leave that job, they're going to be just like you. Jobless, pitiful. And they treat you like you're defective. And this is the statistic. 80% of people who are autistic are unemployed or underemployed. I have a degree in audio engineering. I have my license in aesthetics. I have my master's license in aesthetics. I have an advanced certificate in cosmetic chemistry. And these are all self-paced programs. I did this myself. Learning at my own pace. Which, if it's something that I'm extremely interested in, is extremely fast. And so I'm not uneducated. I'm not smart. I'm not capable. But what I am not is a people person. What I do not understand is social interactions. Most autistic people don't even have to open their mouth. They're automatically not liked because there's something innate about them that people just see as different. And the CPTSD comes from trauma of childhood from my parents, from growing up in the church, but a lot of it has to do from the hands of bullying from my peers. And that's not just school into college. It's from adulthood then going forward. Imagine being bullied at work. And then when you stand up for yourself or, whatever, you're the bad guy or you're blowing things out of proportion or you can't control your emotions. There are so many things that are counterproductive like counterintuitive for a neurodivergent person to work in like any employment scenario. We need frequent breaks. There needs to be less stimulus. Some of us have a strong sense of moral justice, and having a shitty boss is going to be something that you can't ignore, or you need clear written instructions. And people half the time don't even know what they're doing and why they're doing it. They just know they've been told they need to do it, and so they do. And a lot of that is just not good enough for a neurodivergent person. We need the clarity. We need work environments that can play to our skills and our strengths, and especially in the job and hiring and interview process. It's so unfair. It's so one size fits all. And I'm just so like numbed out to it. Like I can't even talk about it fully. Like I can't really verbalize and talk about like my emotions and the things that I'm going through, and it's because of my fucking autism. But I just really want people to understand how deep in my body this affects me on a daily basis. It's like having a millstone tied to my neck and sitting on my chest all the time, and how dark my thoughts get. I had a depressive episode 2 weeks ago, and I live off a busy freeway if you can't hear the traffic, but I was out wandering to 3 and 4 in the morning, just walking down the road and crying. And when I get close to my period, I have PMDD. And it's so exhausting, just like struggling with wanting to leave the earth every time you get low. But you hang on because you have kids that need you. I have twins. They're 17. And right now they're at an age where they are just so mean and shitty. I'm sorry. If you're a parent and you're a parent of teens, I'm sorry. You can understand. They get really shitty. They really don't care about anyone outside of themselves, feelings or emotions, the snide comments, and of course all they want to do is be with their friends. And we were teenagers. We were there. We get it. But when you're a mom who has rejection sensitivity, you can feel rejected by your own kids. And on top of that, you're being rejected by your parents. We are estranged. I do not talk to my parents unless it's for the strict reasons of communicating on what needs to go on with my kids. My son is starting to act out. My daughter is starting to act out. And all I want is like some fucking help. And I feel like that's one of the things that is so hard to deal with when you're an overachieving person. A lot of people who are neurodivergent, they're high achievers. I've written 2 books. I was on Good Morning Washington. My skincare brand, True Glow Expert Skincare, still has over 340,000 followers on TikTok, and at one point it was at 400,000 followers. It was only almost 500,000 followers. I was selling skincare products as far as Ireland and South Africa. You know, I had a podcast at one point called the Glow Getter Podcast, which is a podcast for Black estheticians. I was mentored under Joelle Lee, who was Michelle Obama's esthetician, moved with her and the Obamas from Chicago to DC, and is a genius esthetician in her own right. There's a reason that she came to DC, and it wasn't because, convenience and they knew each other. Is that she had 3 years of training, medical training, lasers, chemical peels, she has a school now in, I believe, South Carolina or North Carolina, a beauty school down there. And that was my mentor, and she was on my podcast. And now, as a DJ, Mixcloud wrote an article about me. Locally in DC, I'm not great, but I'm getting there. I'm there. I play Flash, I play A Street Lounge, Transmission, my first night at Transmission coming up next weekend, doing stuff in Baltimore. I know how to do social media. I know how to market myself. I know how to build a brand. I know how to be the brand. And I know how to put on a good show. But the moment I step away from all that, it's back into darkness, back into emptiness. And none of the shit even matters. Because what does that matter if I can't provide for my kids? What does that even matter if I go to sleep every night in an empty bed? It's so hard for me to ask for help. And when I do, people don't give help, and like, people don't give help, or they give you the bare minimum, or they'll just like point you to someone else. It's like going to Walmart and saying like, hey, can you tell me where the toilet paper is? And they'd be like, so it's over there. Go ask that person over there. Or it's in aisle 5, and you go to aisle 5 and there's no toilet paper once you get there. And I've gone to individuals, I've gone to companies or government entities or whatever. I've tried GoFundMe, and I don't like, sometimes I honestly feel like I'm cursed. I do spiritual cleansing, spiritual baths. I try to meditate, and my mind is just a constant storm. Not to mention, last year, I participated in an outpatient mental health intervention. I had to do group therapy. I had to do group therapy for 2 months, and it helped because the structure. It wasn't because of the stuff that they were teaching me, but it was because I do not have that executive function assistant in my brain to tell me what it is I need to do. And because of that program and because of that structure, it helped me so much. And then as soon as I left, and as soon as it dropped out of my practice or life started life in, I was out of it. And I don't have health insurance anymore because now, for whatever reason, well, I know the reason, Obamacare and the medical system, but whenever you are on Medicaid, you have coverage. If you get a job, you automatically get enrolled in the health insurance that you get from your job and get unenrolled from Medicaid. And so I had a job for about a month at Goodwill sorting clothes, which is not even exaggerating, like working in a sweatshop. The quotas that they give you, the amount that they push you, the amount of people who are previously incarcerated, previously going through rehab, folks who have learning disabilities. There's a lot of people there that are in vulnerable stages of life. And I personally feel like Goodwill takes advantage of those people because they need work and there's not a lot of options for them. And it's menial labor, but it's hard labor. And I'm not afraid to say, like, I could not cut it. One, the environment itself was overstimulating. I was a clothes sorting person, merchandise processor. You get filthy, 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 filthy clothes brought to you in these giant bins, and you have to look at each item, determine whether it's good, toss it. If it's not good, toss it. If it is good, tag it, rack it, and you need to do 120 items per hour is how many items they want you to process per hour. And that's dang near impossible for a lot of people. And you're surrounded by people who may not necessarily be the most safe. And I didn't last very long. But because of that, I lost my health insurance. And so I had to hurry up and go through this reapplication process. And now I just now got insurance back for myself and my kids. But because it's Medicaid, there's no dental. And of course they're 17 and their wisdom teeth are coming in, and I don't have the money. And school's getting ready to start, and my daughter's asking me about going back to school shopping. I don't have it, and I don't know how to get it. Like, I don't even know what job to do. I don't want to go back to being an esthetician because the emotional baggage and the stress of dealing with other people's issues and exchanging their energy and touching them for so much is a lot. I don't know what I can do. I don't have, only other skills I have is audio engineering. And, them niggas don't want me. I worked a summer at All Stage and Sound in Laytonsville. Never called me back. They said they would. They never did. I've been a stagehand twice. Once in Baltimore Sound and Stage, and here in Montgomery County, All Stage and Sound. I'm 5'2" and 130 pounds, and I can lift speakers. I can, mount stages and carry wire just as good as any of the other guys, but they don't want me. And it's doubly hard when you're a black woman. I see lots of white women, or not lots of, I see in every production company there's one white woman or two white women, and they're normally pretty big, and that's not me. Or they're punk rock, and of course that's also not me. There's so much prejudice and preconceived conceptions, and just people taking one glance at you and just assuming that you're one way and not even giving you a chance. I'm so smart. I'm so talented. I'm so capable. But no one will give me a shot. And because of my autism and because of my communication, which is good, but it could be better, I don't sell myself. I don't participate in impression management or perception management to try to make myself look like, what I'm doing right now, talking about myself, is so uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable. And I don't even feel like I'm doing a great job of showing you guys how significantly involved I've been in the music and fashion industries over the years. Because I feel like I'm like Forrest Gump. You're he's been at every pivotal moment of history, but you just never saw him there. And I feel like I'm the female Forrest Gump. Whenever I talk to other DJs about events that I've played or danced at, or people who I know and participate, I was like, oh, I've never seen you, or I didn't know that you know that person. I'm like, yeah, but because I am autistic and it's hard for me to be liked by my peers, or to be outgoing, or to always say the right thing, or sometimes I'm too blunt or too direct or too emotionless, or whatever it is, people don't like me. Also, I'm black and I'm a woman, and so I'm just at the bottom of the totem pole, period. And you can believe what you want or think what you want. I know my truth because I live it, and I see how everyone else gets treated. goes white men, white women, Asians, men, Asian women, Hispanic men, Hispanic women, black men, black women, down there at the bottom. Despite being the most educated, despite being, you know, very accomplished, we're always underpaid, underappreciated, despite literally being the backbone of this country. I've tried GoFundMe's. I've tried a lot. And like I said, I'm just so numb and I'm so tired. And literally, I'm making this video as a cry for help. Is what it is. It's a cry for help because I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to do. I don't know how to fix this brain. I don't know how to get the people skills I don't have. I don't know how to get the connections I don't have. I don't know how to get out of this hole, and I'm yelling for someone to pull me down a ladder. And this video is coming up on 40 minutes, so I think I'm gonna just stop here.